Hey friends, welcome back to Grand Adventure. I'm your host Mark Guido, and today we got ourselves a little care package from mobilemusthav.com. It's got the new Peplink BR1 Pro Max 5G router for our RV and a new 800 gigabyte plan on T-Mobile that they offer to their subscribers. We're going to put these to the test, compare them to our old Peplink router, and see how this improves our mobile connectivity while we're on the road. So stay tuned. Now before we get started, if you're new to the channel, we'll explain that we are full-time RVers who travel all across the country and we work from the RV, so we depend upon reliable internet for our work needs. And our internet situation has changed over time. It started out using a visible data plan on a small nano router and has worked its way up to using Starlink and everything in between. The nice thing about these Peplink routers is we can integrate all of our different services into one router. And it also gives the ability to prioritize or even do what they call carrier bonding, which involves using multiple carriers at the same time. Some of this may not be necessary for you. If you're just a weekend warrior who goes out occasionally and doesn't really care too much about having reliable connectivity, all the way up to the ultimate situation that we're going to go through today. We've put them all in an RV internet connectivity playlist that I'll put right here on the screen right now. So once this video is over, you can go back and check that out and figure out what is suitable for your needs. Anyway, this is a big upgrade for us. Now, you know I'm saying Peplink, and you may see here on the box Pepwave. Just a moment to explain that. They actually carried two different brands. They put everything into two different brands. Peplink was for their wired solutions and Pepwave was for their wireless solutions. However, Peplink recently decided they were just going to stick with the Peplink name for everything. So from here on out, it is Peplink. Anyway, we're going to check this out. We're going to see what's in the box first. Then we're going to go about installing this into the 12-volt system in our RV. We're going to compare the test results between what we're using right now and what this router can do. And we'll show you exactly all the remarkable capabilities of this Peplink BR1 Pro 5G router. I should also take a moment to explain that we're not being financially compensated for this video in any way, although Mobile Must Have did indeed send us this router and this data plan to try out for you. We went out and bought our very first Peplink router, the Max Transit Duo, on our own. We went to Mobile Must Have, we bought it as consumers, we paid the regular retail price, but Mobile Must Have was so happy with the way that that video did that they wanted to give us the opportunity to upgrade to 5G service with the BR1 Pro 5G. And another thing you should understand is that Peplink does not make consumer-grade hardware. This is actually IT-grade hardware. These routers are designed to be installed in buses and trains and other public conveyances to give riders on those buses, trains, and other public conveyances internet connectivity. This is basically, if you think of it, this is kind of like a mobile hotspot on steroids, is what this turns out to be. It accommodates two different SIM cards, potentially from two different carriers. And it also, as you'll see a little bit later in this video, we can also integrate other Wi-Fi services, including Starlink, campground Wi-Fi, and what have you, into our selections that we can prioritize by simply dragging and dropping different carriers. We can also use carrier bonding, as we mentioned just a few moments ago. But just to walk you around the rest of the router, these four ports are for the four antennas that connect to cellular providers. This little terminal over here is for a GPS unit. It's optional, it's not necessary, although it is included in the box. It allows you to track the location of where this device is located at any given point in time. Over here, these two terminals are for connecting the Wi-Fi antennas that communicate wirelessly with our devices. We have 2 LAN ports and 1 WAN port. We have status indicator lights right here, and this is for a Molex connection for connecting the power. Also included in the box is a short quick start guide. And down here, we have the various antennas that go on the device. We have the GPS unit that I just mentioned to you a moment ago, as well as the 120 volt AC power supply. I'm not going to use this. I actually like to have it connected right to our coach's 12 volt system. So for that, we did also pick up the optional hardwire kit, fused hardwire kit for connecting directly to our 12 volt system. That way I don't have to invert the power when we're boondocking. And as I mentioned, we also have an 800 gig per month data plan on T-Mobile. Let's also take a moment to walk you behind our TV set in the living room to show you what we have headquartered back here for our internet connectivity. Right here is our existing Pepwave Max Transit Duo that we're going to be replacing. It functions very similarly to our new router. There are a few key differences. For one thing, this one can actually be powered by USB. So right now we have it plugged into 2 USB ports. We're going to not be able to do that with the new router, so we're going to tap right into the 12 volt power behind this wall plate back here. Another thing, this actually can accommodate up to 4 different SIM cards right here in these slots. Our new router can only accommodate 2. And the reason for that is there's a different antenna configuration required for 5G or 4G. So while it is a downgrade to go from 4 SIM cards to 2, it's an upgrade because we're going to be getting 5G speeds rather than 4G speeds with our new router. So one more thing I want to show to you is the installation of the SIM card in the Pepwave router. We're just going to take our screwdriver and open this little screw to remove a dust cover over the SIM card slots. And I kind of made that a little tight, but there we go. And here we have SIM card A and SIM card B. What I'm going to do is I'm going to remove our AT&T SIM card because we are going to replace that with the T-Mobile plan offered by Mobile Must Have. And you can see, I don't know if you guys can see this. However, there are 3 different SIM card sizes depending on what size you punch this out. And taking my old AT&T card, I can see it's the smallest of the 3 sizes. So let's take this card off. And we're going to take this T-Mobile SIM card and punch it out of the slot, like so. Now these 2 SIM card slots, the slot A, the gold side faces down. Slot B, the gold side faces up. So I'm just going to stick that in the tiny little slot there. Fat fingers me. And I'm just going to use my thumbnail to depress it far enough that it clicks into place. It's as simple as that. We went ahead and already activated this card via Mobile Must Have. It's all done via an email request. You just simply request that they activate the card when you're ready to activate it. So you can get the card well in advance of when you actually need it. And speaking of fat fingers, and I wish this screwdriver was magnetic, but it's not. We'll stick that through there and try to get this screw started. There, almost got it. There we go, starting to go now. Let's make sure that's centered over the slot before we tighten it down. And we'll go plug this back in and get ready to try out the T-Mobile plan. All right, plug this back in our electronics cabinet. I have 2 devices connected to the LAN ports. We will plug in the power and set it down in its spot, and we will let that boot up, and we'll show you how the Pepwave router interface works, as well as evaluate the T-Mobile plan. Now that we're logged in here to our router's administration console, there's one more thing we need to do to get that T-Mobile card ready to use. We're going to switch the type to T-Mobile, and we're going to put in a custom APN that's specified by Mobile Must Have, save and apply. And now the cellular modem will reconnect. We currently have two cards in there. There's the T-Mobile card in slot A and a visible card in slot B. Now it's time to show you what this puppy can actually do. You'll see here we have in priority 1 Wi-Fi over WAN connected to Starlink. And that makes Starlink priority number 1 for us right now. If Starlink goes down or we lose internet connectivity on Starlink, it'll automatically go to our cellular connection in priority 2. Right now, I have it configured to first go to T-Mobile and then go to visible if T-Mobile's not available. So we have redundancy. Let's actually check this IP and make sure that we are indeed on T-Mobile on cellular. Get IP details. And sure enough, there we go. Yep, the cellular is connected to an IP address on T-Mobile. So T-Mobile right now is serving as our backup available to our Starlink. If we were to drag Starlink down to priority 3, then our cellular would be our first choice and our Starlink would be our second choice. Let's do a quick speed test and see what we're getting on the T-Mobile plan. Now we're in suburban Draper, Utah, where, quite frankly, the towers are a little congested, and we're pulling data from a server in Orangeburg, New York, which is quite a distance away. 97 millisecond ping, that's a pretty good time. And we're watching that download speed inch up. It's perfectly acceptable. We're getting about 14, almost 15 megabits per second down. And it looks like we're right in the same ballpark on the upload. The upload is holding very, very steady. Now, like I said, I know the T-Mobile towers around here are fairly congested. Depending on where you are and where ultra wideband is available, I know they're even getting up to 500 megabits per second down up around the airport, for example. But let's try a Utah server and see what kind of speeds we get on that. We'll try CenturyLink in Salt Lake City. We're getting a ping time, it's a little slower, 119 milliseconds. Although the speeds seem to be fairly consistent with what we were seeing on that server in New York. I'm surprised. I would have expected, given the more hops traveling with that data packet all the way to New York, that it would have been a bit slower, but it doesn't seem to be. And, okay, well, our upload is a little bit slower going to CenturyLink. But, again, that's a surprise. Anyway, these speeds are perfectly acceptable for Zoom calls, for streaming, or for any other needs. Now, we use Starlink as our priority connection. We rely on cellular when, for example, we have a significant tree canopy overhead. So here we are back at the main dashboard. And then one nice thing about putting everything through the Pepwave, we probably have 15 different network devices connected to our router. And this gives us the ability to just drag and drop sources without having to reconfigure the connection on all our devices. You can see here we have SIM A as our first priority and SIM B as our second priority. Those are T-Mobile and Visible respectively. And this is how you drag stuff down and reprioritize. It's literally drag and drop. We can plug in a device on the WAN connection, for example, a mobile hotspot or a phone. Wi-Fi WAN on 2.4 gigahertz. We can set up a second connection, say, for example, to use campground Wi-Fi in our list of sources. Down here, you can see the different APs that we've set up for different uses. We're going to switch on now to the FFC Protect tab. This is the Speed Fusion tab. This is where the carrier bonding takes place. We can tell it sends some packets out on one carrier and some packets out on another. your purchase of the router includes a 1-year subscription to SpeedFusion. You can route by LAN client, by SSID, by a specific application. We'll switch over here to the network tab. Here you can see our network settings. You can have more than one LAN. I don't really feel the need to do that, but if you did, you can add a second LAN. If we switch over here to our port settings, this is where we configure our 2 gigabit Ethernet LAN ports and our 2.5 gigabit WAN port. You can set up a captive portal where people have to log in to your system. I don't see much use for that in the RV world, but it's there. This is our SpeedFusion VPN. You can also set up an IPsec VPN, a GRE tunnel, or you can also put OpenVPN credentials right in here. We use Surfshark. You can set outbound policy and manually configure port forwarding on your router, where you can enable UPnP and NATPnP. Down here, you can specify user groups for quality of service settings. You can actually set individual bandwidth control for specific groups or individuals. Here, you can set which applications get priority. And those are all part of the QoS settings. Now we're down here a little further in the list. You'll see the firewall access rules. Let me get out of there first. Okay, firewall access rules. You can actually block specific content on the next page. Different types of adware, pornography, audio video streaming. You can block all that if you want to. Different routing protocols and a whole bunch more settings that, quite frankly, I'm not going to get into because it's kind of beyond the scope of this video and a little bit above my pay grade. Back to the top, we'll switch over to the AP settings. Here you can see the different SSIDs that we've made available. If you have a mesh system in your RV, you can configure that there, as well as individual settings for your APs. You can see I have some set on 5G only, some set on 2.4 gigahertz only, and some on both. You can also set channel update times. You can tell it which protocols to use, channel width, and select specific channels on the tower, the cellular towers. Here you can see info status, our access point information, wireless SSID information, the clients that are connected to our wireless network presently. A little more on the mesh on the next setting, but you can see we've got a bunch of stuff. And that way we don't have to completely reconfigure every internet connection every time we change. Nearby devices, different probes from different devices, and a complete event log. We'll switch over now to the System tab. Here's where you change your password if you want to, time out your web session, set HTTP or HTTPS security. Next tab, you can actually upgrade the firmware. Here you can set your time. Well, while I'm in here, I never did set this to mountain time, so let's change that setting now. And we'll click the Apply Changes Confirm button. And while we're waiting for those changes to propagate, we'll keep on going through this brief introduction. Down here, you can actually schedule internet availability. You can set up with an SMTP server. You can set up email notification for different events in the router, an event log, and I'll just keep clicking on down through. Oh, In Control allows you remote access to your router, so you can configure it and handle different stuff. Anyway, configuration here, you can actually download your configuration or upload a backup. Here's where you activate feature add-ons, or you can reboot from right here and select which firmware version you want to reboot into. And then, of course, there's the usual set of tools available, including ping, traceroute, wake on LAN, and analysis of your WAN.
Now we'll go over to the status tab, the last tab available in the configuration. Here you see basic information about the router, active sessions available right now, a list of clients, both wireless and wired. And we'll keep scrolling down. There's SpeedFusion VPN. Again, you get a 1-year subscription to that as part of your purchase. Here's where you see ports that have been forwarded by UPnP or NAT, an event log, and then you get usage reports so you can track how much data you're using on different connections, either in real time, hourly, daily, or monthly. We rely upon products like Peplink routers and Mobile Must Have's data plan on T-Mobile and even Starlink satellite internet to ensure that we have reliable and redundant internet connectivity that allows us to continue to work from the road as we travel all across the country. I think you've seen through this video that the Peplink Max BR1 Pro 5G has perhaps the most robust feature set of any mobile router out there. It's currently available for $999 at mobilemustHave.com. And Mobile Must Have's 800 gigabyte T-Mobile data plan costs $150 per month plus a $50 activation fee. Although that activation fee is waived if you make the purchase of a data plan at the same time as you purchase the router. And 800 gigabytes is more data than just about anybody's going to need in the course of a month. Now, a little extra special gift for you. We are mobilemusthave.com affiliate members. And if you use the coupon code GrandAdventure5, now that's Grand Adventure followed by the number 5, all run together as one word, you'll get an extra 5% off your entire purchase at checkout. And Grand Adventure receives a small commission on each sale. We hope that this information's been useful to you. If you found this episode useful, please be sure to give us a big thumbs up down below. And while you're down below, that's where you'll find the comment section where we'd love to hear from you after each Grand Adventure that we air every Wednesday evening. So if you're not yet a Grand Adventurer yourself, now is the perfect time for you to go hit that little subscribe button right down there in the lower right-hand corner of your screen. Because we are just barely over a week away from getting back on the road for another full spring, summer, and fall travel season full of exciting travel episodes to share with you. We would be truly honored if you shared the channel with your friends, family, and on social media. So until next Wednesday, please remember, life is nothing but a grand adventure. We'll see you then.